Hello everyone, welcome back to Planet Zoo. I am Reckless, and thanks for joining me today for another speed build. Today we're building our mandrill habitat here in the zoo. And for this build I wanted to do something a little bit different. So the way I've set this up is there is no guest paths there's no viewing areas for this habitat or anything. The only guest interaction that this habitat has is the train that goes through the habitat. I wanted to set this up as if the mandrills were living up here on the mountains and almost in a wild sense, and the zoo decided to, just accommodate them where they were without having to relocate them or something like that. So the zoo, again, this is in my mind the story of the zoo, if you will. The zoo put keepers and such up on the mountaintop with the specific goal of taking care of this group of mandrills that were living on this mountainside here. So that was the story behind this. But basically I just wanted to create something kind of chiseled out of the mountain and have the train as a centerpiece rolling through the exhibit. And all in all, I think it turned out really great. I'm super happy with the aesthetic of it and how it looks, and especially when the train rolls through, the guests on the train can just get kind of a little peek of the mandrills on the mountainside as they roll through. So you see I'm testing the train here, making sure it has the right angle that I wanted. In building the habitat, this was something that I tried and it just instantly worked, which was fantastic. By creating this null barrier, and I was able to create a little land bridge, build the null barrier across it, and then destroy the land bridge, it still kept the habitat boundary. So I was able to bridge this gap without actually having to have a physical bridge in between them. So it allowed the train to pass through there quite seamlessly. I was quite happy with how that worked out. To connect the two sides of the mountain, I opted to create myself a little bridge. And I've kept in most of this building footage unedited to show you, A, that my building is coming along somewhat, but also B, the fact that I still have a long way to go. I was messing about with the building features, just trying to get a hang of this. I've since gone through and watched some other builders' videos on YouTube as to how to build better, so hopefully my building will be a little bit more streamlined and clean, if you will, in the next builds. I'm going to attempt to tackle quite a ambitious project in the next couple days here. Basically, the African rainforest section is nearly complete. We have 3 more animals to include. One being the okapi, and at the time of this recording, our okapi habitat is actually already finished. So after this mandrill habitat, you'll be seeing the okapi, and then after that is the bonobo. We have the bonobo apes and the chimpanzees left to do. I'm going to attempt to build them an indoor style habitat, both the bonobos and the chimpanzees, in one giant complex building, if you will. It's a little bit ambitious for my building ability. If it doesn't work out, I'll see if I can find something on the workshop, and if not, I'll just make a natural exhibit like I had planned all along. But I thought it'd be kind of cool to have a habitat inside of a building. I know a lot of people are doing that kind of style, but I want to try and kind of make it my own, if you will. So in this mandrill habitat, I flexed my ability to build a little bit. I think that, it accomplished what I was trying to accomplish. It just took me a while to get there. These logs that you're seeing me placing down now, they didn't actually work as a pathway for the animals. Like, the animals could get across it, but it was really was like janky, and they would like have to like hop from log to log, and it was really, they would tweak out, and it just looked really weird. So I've since gone back and placed the flat wood paneling over top of these logs, and I think it gives pretty realistic looking approach to it as well. You'll see it in the end of the video for the glamour shots and whatnot. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with how this exhibit turned out, and I think the habitat in general for these mandrills definitely fits the aesthetics of the zoo that I'm going for so far, and I think it turned out quite well. If you do like the content, you like the video that you're watching, please do hit that like button, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. It does help me out a lot, and you'll be able to stay tuned to all the future habitats that we build together. So that's the bridge done. Pretty happy with how it turned out. It looks the way I wanted it to, at least, so can't really complain. As far as decorating and the climbing bits for the mandrill habitat, I wanted to kind of create, like I said, this being more of like a natural thing with the mandrills living on the mountain. I wanted to create almost like a fire watch, or like a, like what am I trying to say here? Like a little tree stand where like the keepers would go and like watch the mandrills, but like be up away from them, and the mandrills just kind of took it as their own. So you guys know I'm not a big fan of the climbing materials in game, so I wanted to make it a little bit more natural-ish, if you know what I mean, without like being too manufactured. Yeah, so I created these two platforms. The mandrills do use them quite often, right? So that was a success. I created like a little bit of a ladder for the keepers or the mandrills to get up. In regards to the rest of the zoo, I've gone through and revitalized some of the North American section. The pronghorns and the bison I've actually had to separate into two separate enclosures. The giant enclosure that I had them in, the keepers just couldn't keep it maintained and keep all the animals fed appropriately, and I was constantly getting warnings that animals were starving and everything. Basically, the bison and the pronghorn were just fighting for food, and the keepers never seemed to be able to keep them stocked up enough. It was just too big of an exhibit, so I've split the habitat into two sections, and if you guys want, I can go through and detail that and show you what I've done. I've also done a lot of aesthetic stuff to the North American section. Once this rainforest part of the zoo is complete, I do want to go through and give you guys a bit of a zoo tour. I didn't want to do it after the North American section only, because I thought it would just kind of be boring with only the one section. But being that we have these two parts of the world done now, if you guys want to see a zoo tour, please do let me know down in the comments below, and I'll be sure to make that happen for you guys. With the mandrills here, it's kind of like one male and a bunch of females for their ideal social group. So I tried to find the biggest male I could. We have a nice big beefy male and a harem of females for him. As far as the decorations for the habitat, I wanted to keep the theme of just lush, lush rainforest. Once I finish all the exhibits in this area, I'm gonna just do a final pass and just beautify the whole area and make it look like a thick jungle, and we'll have the extension out into the rest of the park from there. I have a pretty cool idea as to how I want to bridge the gap between sections, right? From North America to this African part, there's a small walkway, but there's also the train being the main connecting feature. I'm going to build a nice train station to allow the guests to transition into this African area. Basically, I want the rainforest to be accessible by train mainly, and then I'm going to have a different plan to get the guests into the rest of the African section. But you guys will just have to stay tuned for that. So once again, I'm Reckless, and I hope you guys are enjoying this zoo. If you do like the content, please do hit that subscribe button and leave a like and comment for things that you would like to see in the future. I have a lot of plans coming for this zoo, and I hope that you guys enjoy it along the way. There is a Discord server coming, as well as badging and basically theming for my channel. I have somebody working on some art in order to, spice up the channel, make it look a little bit more professional for you guys. This is something I do plan on doing for quite some time, and this zoo itself is probably this particular series will continue on for quite some time into the future. Simply, we're about, I would say, maybe a third of the way through. I think I'm being optimistic in saying a third, but either way, there's a lot more to do on this zoo. I plan on doing more habitat builds, and we will do franchise mode at some point in the future if that's something you guys would like to see. But all in all, I hope you guys enjoyed this Mandrill Mountain Habitat build, and please do stay tuned for upcoming habitats and builds. Thanks for tuning in. Again, I'm Reckless. Have a good day. Bye-bye.